You are a NLP practitioner or a coach, and how you got into it.
I was lost. One of the jobs which I was having in Pune already, and my son was not doing very well. He was into medication and he was also hospitalized. I wanted to just stop myself and find the answer. What the hell is happening? My mom passed away. My mom was a cancer patient for 13 years. So I've been into this kind of positivity, psychology, changes. So I guess my mom was also in positivity, so she could run for 13 years. I wanted to ask a question to myself. What did you do to him? Why is he here? I was in a lot of fears, doubts. I didn't know that I was holding my mom's death inside, and my life started changing, and I started practicing with people. People started saying that we are so clear about our belief system, getting over the problems. That gave me confidence. Okay, let's do it more. That's the way it is.
Ridhima Dua is a prominent figure when it comes to neuro-linguistic programming in India. She has dedicated over 15 years in neuro-linguistic programming, where she has mentored leaders, coaches, and professionals in various sectors. She is notably the first Indian woman to be certified by the International Trainers Academy, ITA, in both classic and new Code NLP. Ridhima has trained extensively under renowned figures like Dr. John Grinder. Her mission is to empower individuals to harness their inner potential and achieve personal and professional transformation. Let's look at her insights and experiences in this episode. Hi Ridhima, it's Shruti here from Inner Habit. Welcome to Inner Habit firstly. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Shruti. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the invitation. I just love the energy you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The only thing that's keeping me going is my NLP practice that I'm practicing. So it's fantastic to see you so calm and so collected.
So nice of you. I am also practicing the same, what you're practicing, my dear.
That's right. So I guess let's do an introduction of yourself initially. So where are you from, Ridhima, and what do you do?
I'm from India. And I was born in a very small place, which is a very small city, not even a district, in the middle of India, which is Madhya Pradesh. Moved to Delhi, then moved to Pune. It's been 24 years in Pune. Pune is a city in the western region of India, in Maharashtra. And I guess I have traveled all across India, because just barring the eastern part of India, so I can say I'm all over from India. My work is like, talking to each and every one from diverse backgrounds. So from northern side to eastern to western to southern, it's just amazing.
Excellent. Now, just to start off, you are a NLP practitioner or a coach. So take us through your understanding of NLP and how you got into it.
All right, so there are two questions here. One is about how did I get into it, and the other is my understanding of NLP. So how did I get into NLP is a very simple thing, that I was lost. One of the jobs which I was having in Pune already, and they said, okay, we really don't want you, and I was lost, and my son, that time itself, was not doing very well. Just 6 months before, he was into medication, and the medication, Shruti, was like 5 antibiotic bottle in 1.5 months, and he was also hospitalized, and all this was just going on a lot in my mind, and I wanted to just stop myself and find the answer. What the hell is happening? I used to read a lot about psychology, about positivity, etc. When my mom passed away, my mom was a cancer patient for 13 years, so I've been into this kind of positivity, psychology, changes. So I guess my mom was also in positivity, so she could run for 13 years. And when my son wasn't well, and when I was out of my job, and during that time, I remember I was sitting with my son in the hospital. I wanted to ask a question to myself. What did you do to him? Why is he here? And I started reading and reading and reading. And that's the way the journey started towards NLP, psychology. And then I did my practitioners. I did master practitioners and I started practicing with myself. I was a phobic person to water. My son had phobia. We were into a lot of medication. I was in a lot of fears, doubts. I didn't know that I was holding my mom's death inside. Sometimes you don't even know what you're holding on. And my life started changing and I started practicing with people. People started saying that we are so clear about our belief system, getting over the problems. And that gave me confidence. Okay, let's do it more. That's the way it is.
Great. And what is your
understanding? So first of all, I have heard this in multiple ways and multiple styles by Dr. John Grinder, who is the co-creator of NLP and creator of New Code NLP. And I am saying in my style, understanding itself is overrated. Understanding NLP is going to delete the experience of NLP. The origin of NLP is based on modeling. It's just based so pure on modeling. And for me, modeling is, if I see Shruti and the way she smiles and look, and if I like that and I can continue, doing in that way, I am modeling one of the parts. So we have modelers around our life who influences us unconsciously, and we pick up habits. We build those habits based on unconscious assimilation. Carmen Bostic keeps saying that NLP is not founded, it's coded. So it's like the assimilation of what's happening here, how is the size, okay, what is this pattern? And they started modeling Milton, Fritsch, and Virginia, observed them with that kind of dedication, Shruti, which was not about understanding. It was about absorb it, do it, then come in third position and then decode it. So if we can do that for life also, I think that's also one of the part. So the core part which I want the viewers who will see this is to not to understand NLP. When they also come to you, when they come to the trainers, don't understand it. Just go and do all the techniques and model the geniuses. Just model them. Don't get into these steps. This is the step. No, wait, I will not do this. I will do this step right now. So I'm sorry, but yeah, it's not about that, isn't it? I hope it makes sense. I have more to talk about it.
Yes. No, you actually make sense, because if you don't practice it, you don't practically gain the knowledge and the experience. So no matter how much you read about it, the actual practice helps you understand it much better. And this is something that I've really found as I was studying it, and I have to go out there and do my practice on other people and see their behaviors, their patterns, and how I can help them as well.
So I would like to take a moment, and I would like people to know the steps of modeling, which Dr. John Grinder keeps saying. What he says and what it is written also is you find a genius, and when you find a genius, you just go and do unconscious assimilation. Means you cut, copy, paste, match and mirror, without any logical interpretations. No understanding that time. Because while we were growing as kids also, while we were learning language, that time we were not understanding whether this is called A and B. We were not trying to put the three words in an organized way, saying CAT is going to be cat. We were not organizing and sorting. Organizing and sorting comes later, which is understand. And the very first base is assimilating at a level where you are not getting into the logical descriptions of it. The next step, which he says, finding the genius, unconscious assimilation without any logical understanding. And then the next step, which he says, is practice, and practice in parallel context. A lot of people ask me, what is a parallel context? It's like, if I'm a doctor and if I am, getting an internship under you and you are training me, the next thing is, if you are training me how to hold a syringe, the next thing is, tomorrow again I will practice holding the same thing in the same context, in the same environment. The same happens with football. The same happens with, badminton. The same happens with our language. We just practice the same thing. So you practice the same in parallel context. Then NLP got into coding. Like they were modeling the genius, unconscious assimilation, practicing in parallel context. Then Richard, Frank, and John coded the processes, that how it can be done. So something which is very useful for everyone to remember.
Right. Now you've explained the basis of NLP. So tell me, what is the difference then? Because you mentioned that you got into NLP and then you're looking at new code NLP. So what is the difference between NLP and new code NLP then?
All right. I hope that I would be able to get this more experiential rather than just talking about it. Let's say that if there is a tree and one of the branch of the tree which is not so good, and if you are also observing, let's say, the other side, small little leaves on the other side, not so good. Let's go to different side, the third side. Maybe one of the fruits is not so really giving the same, way quality. Now, as a farmer, then your job would be to identify the higher intention of this tree, what's happening. And the farmer will use his calibration to observe, okay, there is something here, there's something here, there's something here. And then it will identify to do some game, some process with that tree, that each of the part, whatever it needs, whether it is sunlight, whether it is fertilizer, whether it is water, whether it is whatever, each one of it, whatever it needs, I will just start pouring and doing it, and all the parts would receive what they want to receive. If one has to fall down, let it fall down, the new comes in. If one is going to change, let it change by itself. So in new code, we are working at the intention level, at this level. We are not working at why is this fruit not good, why I do have this addiction, why is this, where this habit coming from. Instead, we are playing certain games, all right, we're putting the context away, playing certain games, and that games, Shruti, I do not know, I'll give that background, that games will just start pouring in different fruits inside the circuitry without me consciously thinking that I have to be positive, or I should do this technique now, or I should feel motivated. So the core difference is new code NLP works at state level. The state by Dr. John Grinder is neurological, physiological, and biochemical. State is here and behavior is below that. So we work at a state level directly. That's in new code. That's one part. And intention level. There is something very interesting. New code is using games. There are games of new code coded by Dr. John. It's not a technique. It's not a visualization technique, what I mean to say. These are games which is coded. Now, what's the intention of the game? It's very interesting. All of the viewers who are going to listen to this, when I went to Portugal in 2018 and I was asked by Dr. John to play a game, Alphabet, and I was like, why are we playing games? We are here, coaches, therapists, psychologists. Let's talk about problems, right? We're not talking about problems. We're saying keep the problem away, play a game.
Yeah, why would he, So yes.
Yeah, and when I started playing the game, I wasn't able to play the game. I wasn't getting the game, and John was passing by, and I just said, John, I'm just not getting this. And he told me that day that exactly, I want you to get this and go and test your context, test your reality. Come back to me with feedback, and then I will answer, and then I will talk. You practice this game first. So I'm a curious person and I like asking questions. And I got, oh wow, I can ask questions after I test. And I just started doing right, wrong, doesn't matter in the game. What matters in the game is that the left and the right brain hemispheres just start colliding, the conditions start coming in, and then you get a know-nothing state. You just don't know, and you take that into the context. The next day, you go and test your context. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I don't know what's happening. Something is happening. So state level, intention, and games, that's the core three differences. One more thing, Shruti, which audience, people who would hear this can remember. New code, it's all about unconscious. So what is unconscious? What specific resource would you like it to give? in perceptual positions, whether we do timeline, what would you want as an outcome? This is a question. Now, when we answer that question and we say, I would like to be confident, I would like to be relaxed. Wow, he has challenged that too. And I'm so in awe with this. This part, when we say confidence, is also coming from two things here. One, I have an experience. I perceive confidence in one way. And I'm assuming that this context only requires confidence. I was already a trainer in India and I was missing myself that why am I falling back in patterns? Why is there a miss? What's happening? I'm planning confident, but it's not coming. Because, Michael says it's not about being happy robot. It has to come naturally. Conscious part is if I say I want confidence is coming part from conscious because I'm deciding this is what I want, which can be true. We are not saying it is not. Or it can be something else too. It can be natural. It can be something else too clubbed with. So in the new code, we are directly working at unconscious level. When you are going to practice new code with your practitioners, you will not really ask too much about what would you want there. You would say, okay, there's some context you want to work on, keep it there, keep that there, disassociate, play a game, let the circuitry fire some states, and let the unconscious, the server, do its job. You go in your reality and then you just go and observe what happens. No thinking that I should be feeling this way. Just go and do it. Highly unconscious. And the last thing as a difference, which I would like people to remember, is a new code is a lot in my experience. It's a lot about fine calibrations with your clients and with yourself. As a coach and as a trainer, Shruti, I want to tell you personally that it's been 18, 19, like 7 years only on focusing on new code in any kind of environment, whether it is my gym, whether it is my walking, whether it is talking to you, whether it is, I just know there's some fall, something happening in the breathing. This is calibration. And you have done NLP, you know how important calibration is. John says calibration is the mother of all skills. And these games, it just tells you when the client is shifting from one state to another state, you as a coach can calibrate, okay, he's like this or she's like that now. So state A, state B, what's happening? Keep it mum, no need to say, just keep it with yourself as a coach. And it fine-tunes calibration skills, which is lacking in classic code to that extent. I have more to talk about new code, but I would keep it to here. It's a beautiful gift by Dr. John, Carmen, and Michael in the world to really do this new code games and create a different way of doing NLP.
Okay. So you mentioned new code games. Let's look at an example of one game. Now, I don't know if this relates to what I saw on your Instagram, where you were all playing with the drums, the African beat drums, and what that had to do. So I immediately went there because obviously I come from Africa and I have a Kenyan background. So my mind went there. So I wanted to ask you what all that was about.
Okay, all right. So we use examples, right? Metaphors.
That's right.
So drum was one of the metaphors to meet an intention.
Okay.
And the intention was very simple, to create a know-nothing state with beats, with rhythms. And that's the intention of new code games too, to create a know-nothing state at such a heightened level with improving and enhancing and increasing the conditions with visuals, auditory, kinesthetic in such a way that the client is in a optimized state. The client is in the optimal performance state. Yeah, I would not use the word high performance because sometimes it is quite misunderstood.
Yes.
I would like to use the word optimized performance, as said by John too. And the idea of the drumming was you pick up a beat and you do the beat, multiple times. Then there was a challenge. We will distract you and you continue doing the beat. So it's a challenge. Then there were, groups of two. So you do this one and you do this one, and you again challenge each other with drumming higher. So each layer, Shruti, which we were doing, the intention was to have such a know-nothing state. And then we also asked people to have this know-nothing state experience and put their context above whatever the fear is. Just put it above. Get this know-nothing state and let the fear fall onto your body. Don't keep it away. Let it fall. Let it collapse. Let it merge at a very different level. So that was one of the experience which we created using drums.
That's actually very beautiful explanation of actually the know-nothing state, to be honest, and how the drums actually apply to it. So it's really good, basically. In terms of the people who may be watching this, would you like to give them an explanation of what know-nothing state is?
So let's take a few examples. Yeah. So when we go to swim, right? When we swim, at that time, we really don't think how to swim. We just swim. We just do. And how the left and the right just flows, and we are into something like that, and just flowing, and we just don't know, and we're just doing it. Versus if we think that, okay, now I'm going to take my left and then the right, it might be very tiring. I'm guessing it, right? That's one example. When we are into painting is a beautiful example of it. So X versus Y, painters who are just into, they have no internal dialogue at that time, and they're just into and doing it, no internal dialogue, silence, and a highly optimized, focused state where I just know this. It's not that I don't know this. I don't know anything else, and I just know this. I repeat, I don't know anything else, and I just know this. That's all I know. I'll give last one more example. Recently, we were in Ganpati festival at our home, and we had this chant of Om Namah Shivaya, right? And there were kids around, and there were some movements around, and oh my God, I was so happy that I practiced new code in such a way that I was not knowing what's happening. I just knew Shiva's chant and what we were doing. That's it. So I've kind of captured that experience fully in my body that way.
That's interesting, and I'll ask you then the next question. So internal dialogue reduces clarity. We all know that the internal dialogue, because of the amount of negative thoughts and patterns that we have, where I think it is 80% negative thoughts and the pattern is 95% repetitive from what I remember. Yes, the question is, what is the difference between present moment awareness and know-nothing state then?
So I think, in my opinion, maybe both is same. What my experience says is this: present moment awareness is, I know that, I'm talking to you, my visuals are here, I know how am I talking, etc. I know that there is a sound of the fan here, right? So I have an awareness of all of this. What I'm talking about is more deeper. I don't know how I am giving you these answers. You are asking me a question which I have no idea what you're asking. I mean, I have an idea now what you're asking, but I had no idea before until you asked. You're asking me a question and I'm giving you an answer based on my know-nothing state. I don't know. I just know that my unconscious would tap in to my reservoir and it would give you that experience which is more useful and congruent and ecological.
Now, how can new NLP enhance self-awareness and personal growth?
All right. Okay. So how can new Code NLP help self-awareness and personal growth? So these are two different questions. I will answer them separately with examples. I love your questions. Yeah. I'll tell you why, because it just relates to what my experience is and the examples which I can really give. So, when we pick up a dumbbell to do chest press, and when we push it and when we get it back, what specific tensions are getting created in my shoulders and in my upper chest and this area? And how is it going up and down? How much a normal person without into the practice of new code versus now when I was doing now. So I have done the dumbbell press, chest press with dumbbells before also in 2010. And now when I practice, there is a drastic difference in the way I can observe the shifts in my muscles and in my body, right? So that's self-awareness to me. I'll give you one more example. When I walk or when I run, and one day when I was running and I got a tweak in my knee, and there is a process by John on unconscious signals. I calibrated that there is something which is happening in my knee, and I just, without my awareness, just said to my unconscious, you take care of it, and I did some framing. And it just helped me again go back to my run. If I would have not been in that situation, maybe I would have taken it, oh, okay, my knee is paining, I shouldn't be running. Now I shouldn't. And I also have an experience wherein a heightened awareness in my new Code NLP experience has been able to calibrate each and every small muscle shifts physiologically, breathing shifts internally, your dialogue shift, the focus with the peripheral vision shifts. When you identify these such minute shifts as tensions in your body, you are self-aware then, right? So that's an example on that. So it really helps.
So tell me something. We talked about fear and how people go through fear. Another thing, initially we'll talk about fear. How does NLP help people or even new code NLP help people that have a lot of fear, and the fear is like, oh, what if that happens? Oh, what if this happens? And because of that fear, they're not able to move in front.
Okay, so multiple things coming in, and I would proceed with that. So minutes back, you were also talking about patterns, thoughts, internal dialogues. And again, you're talking about fears. Oh, what if this happen? What does that happen? And we can very easily identify it's an internal dialogue. What if, what if, what if? So there's a voice which is coming from some side. This voice has some quality. It comes at some times. It has some uniqueness. It comes before something. It has an intention to come. What is the intention of that voice is what I would like the viewers to identify instead of just asking it to go away. What's the intention of that voice? Okay, what if this happened? All right, what if? Then answer it, conquer it in a real sense. I'm not saying just to run away from it. I'm saying, okay, what if this happens? Then what? Yeah, tell me then what. Recently, we did an event of new code practitioners. It was 8 days, and we were at Sheraton. To be honest, every individual who is going to hear this is going to be, I don't know, might be surprised. On the 23rd, we had the event. And on the 22nd, because the event was so large, it was happening at a beautiful property, and we had to do the stage and everything, etc. this time. So on the 22nd, a day before, generally I have a pattern to be there a day before to see everything that, it's organized, because this time there were people from 14 different cities who were coming to be here in Pune. And I was not there on 22nd. You kidding me? I wasn't there. Because my husband, my father, and my son, my husband especially, was going through chikungunya, dengue, a fever.
Dengue fever.
Yes, and we were calculating whether we should take him, hospitalized him, because they were saying let's hospitalize. And we both were doing NLP with each other to make sure that, he's settled at least at home. Till 12 midnight, I had no idea that whether we will sail through 23rd the full day, half day, will I be able to go in the morning tomorrow? So what? I don't know. I'll sleep, that I know. And I did sleep. I did sleep for some time, yes. Not all 6 hours. I did sleep because I was standing the whole day. And I reached there. I have a pattern to reach 3 hours before when I'm organizing things. I reached there just 20, 30 minutes before. And my team, God's grace, was there to organize everything, and I entered. What if my husband would have called at 12 o'clock again and said that, hey, I'll have to get hospitalized? I knew what I'm going to do because my intentions were clear.
That's amazing. Just that clarity and the intention that, it sort of, first of all, you weren't stressing. It was a big event. I know that. It was in the news that you went through the whole 8 days. And it was a very successful program. And it's just amazing how you were actually so calm throughout that process. I wouldn't say calm, you were probably stressing out, but the fact that you took into account that if it happens, whatever happens, happens. And I think a lot of people need to practice that. I think even when I see it in Australia here, where I look at people and everything somebody does is based on a what if. What if I can't get this? And what if I don't finish my project on time?
Yeah, answer it then. Answer it. Answer the consequences of it, I'm saying. You're absolutely right. Answer it. Yeah. Okay, then what?
That's right. Then what? Because and because of that what if, that causes a lot of stress. And that causes a lot of anxiety that if I don't finish, I'm going to get into trouble. So
how do you know?
How do you know?
How do you know? How do you know there's going to be trouble? How do you know there's trouble? Yeah.
It's an assumption already made. That's right.
Yeah.
It may not be. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's
exactly.
Very, very interesting.
I'll just complete this because this is important. So you challenge. Okay, yes. What if this happens? All right, pause. Okay, what would happen then? Answer it. What is the consequence? Oh, the consequence is, how would I answer it to my boss? How would I answer it to my clients? Okay, how would you like to answer? What is the intention of that answer? What is your intention to do this? The intention, for example, for me is to be a model of excellence in the way of how can I carry myself with states and optimize states, which can produce performance and can create an experience for people who are around me to have a discovery at a deeper level that I can also have states like this. Your intention is going to put attention to how your neurological circuitry is going to do things. This is by Carmen Bostic. And one important thing I want to tell the viewers, I wasn't doing any motivation to myself. No, it was natural. And I really give credit for that to the practice of so many years of new code and my own challenge to myself. What if? How do you know? All right, what's your intention? How specifically can you do? Which state can you access now? Unconscious, access the state. I'm leaving it to you. Let me just go and have some coffee.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm just exactly. See, exactly, and that's a way I would say. Are you serious? Okay, yeah. Let's just go and have some coffee. Where's Sophia now?
I was like, that's a good one. You got me there. That is a really good one. So amazing. That's so good. Sorry, I have to just take a breather there.
Oh yeah. By the way, I have one.
Oh, okay, that's really good. I'm really happy you have one, and you don't need to get up to go get one. Okay, so I think you mentioned a couple or even a few more than a couple of questions that we should be asking ourselves. I'm going to look at goal achievement. What are the 5 questions somebody should ask themselves when they're looking at achieving a goal or achieving certain goals? As an example, look at me. I'm podcasting. I'm trying to take your message across to the audience. This is a goal that I have. So what sort of questions should I be asking myself in order to get to that end goal, basically?
I love this one too. Very, very simple. The very first question which I would ask to you, okay, you said that you would like to work on getting this podcast to the audience, getting this voice to the audience. What's your intention?
Okay, we're gonna do a role play here, okay?
Sure.
My intention is that people need to know the NLP practice because I myself practice it and I've noticed the benefits it's had on me. So I'll give an example. The assumptions which I used to do, I no longer do them. But I also no longer live in fear, right? So as an example, when I started this, I'm an introvert. So for me to even be here and have this conversation is breaking that barrier of speaking to people and having conversations and actually getting it out to people. So that is my intention, is people need to know that NLP works and that they should try it and that it's a fantastic practice.
If I would be coaching you, I would be challenging you. So very, very simply, you have put in your intention. You have put in two intentions here. One, the intention to people, their intention, they knowing that NLP works. And your intention is that you would be going out and talking to people because now you know that you are not the same person. And now you also know that there doesn't exist any label, which is intro or extra. I can be whatever I want to be. And today I am here doing this. You know that you are doing it for yourself so that you can speak and communicate and take this voice then for people and people learning this. Now, if I would be working with someone on the goals, I would chunk them two different here. What would happen if you would communicate and, talk to different people and converse with them? That's one question. And what would happen if people know that this works, NLP works? These are two separate questions. Shruti, I really identify that when we start our journey, we want to do for people, which is beautiful. I respect that. And it is very important to chunk them separately. This is what I've learned with Kavan, right? What's my intention so that it is clean, it's clear. And what is the intention it will serve to others? Chunk them separately. It will have a clear sorting to individuals when they do goals. Now, the next question which I would like to ask whosoever is, in this place as a role play, if I would go ahead, I would ask these two more questions. What would happen if you would do this? What would happen for people more? Then I would ask, what specific alternatives are there to achieve the same intention? What do you think about this?
I never thought that question would come. Just to think about it, there can be alternatives. It doesn't have to be just this way. So you actually opened my mind to think about what are the alternatives. Oh my God, now I'm going to sit there and actually make a list. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Yes, now you know that there can be 100 different ways also, and this to converse, because now Shruti knows she can converse whenever she wants. She's serving a purpose, and she can also choose not to converse when she wants, because both are equally serving its own purpose.
That's true. Excellent. So can you share a success story of a client where you got them through something with the use of new Code NLP or even NLP for that matter?
Well, there are many. Which specific category are we choosing? Are we choosing performance? Are we choosing a pattern? Are we choosing a physical health? Are we choosing a career? Are we choosing losing weight? What are we choosing? I have stories of everything.
All right. So I want you to choose something that made a difference to your mindset, to you, and you felt that you had achieved something to help someone and that you have achieved that goal.
I would like to say that each and every time I work, I really feel that achievement, that wow, this is beautiful for them. So I really feel that. And I would like to share one of the recent coaching with a CEO, which I have been doing. Okay. And I've been using NLP very subtly, because directly when I do NLP trainings, people are quite ready. Yes, I want to do a technique and I want to get over this fear and that fear, etc. But when you go into the CEOs and CHROs and CTOs and people like that, and getting in there and doing certain thing is magical. The person was talking about things. This is not working. That's not working. This is not happening. That's not happening. This has to go perfect. No, I want this perfect. I want to do meditation perfectly, blah, blah, blah. And then coming back, this is not happening, blah, blah, blah. So it was so beautifully, subtly, just listening with beautiful rapport and matching and mirroring. And he was continuously talking, and then I wasn't challenging. I was just listening and listening. I came to challenge later. He said, okay, now you do a technique. I heard that you do a technique. So you do a technique. And I said, no, I will not. I won't. Because he was, very logical, right? Okay, so now this is this. Now let's go logic and let's do. I said, no, let's just play a game. Let's just, pick up a ball and just start playing. In the next class, before the next coaching session, I gave him a task. I said that I want you to play the ball game until you get it wrong. I want you to get things wrong. I'm not doing any technique. I just want you to get things wrong. And laugh on those things. Every time something goes wrong and you drop the ball, you laugh on it. You play the ball, you drop the ball, you laugh on it. And he came back to me saying, I identified that I was trying to be perfect in everything. And I wasn't smiling about simple things. And I was, oh man. And that was a big aha on his face. Like, oh man, it's been years I've been trying to think that how do I come out of this problem of my business, etc. And every single thing was coming down to one pattern, and that is perfection, 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 perfection. I have to get up at 4 o'clock. The business will not run without me. They can't do things. Everything was just coming down to one thing. So as a coach, when I train coaches, and my intention has been, and it's becoming more and more stronger to me to teach it in this way, that I want people to be able to identify that one knot. If you are not that one knot, the other coachee will start unknotting other by himself.
So how does one become certified in New Code NLP?
Very simple. You can come to me.
Sales job done.
So, certified New Code NLP practitioner. First of all, New Code NLP is a subject by John, Michael, and Carmen. It is run by ITCA, which is International Trainers and Coaching Academy. And ITCA has approved trainers all around the world. It's there listed at ITCA. Means Ridhima, myself, is one of the approved trainer. So any of the approved ITCA trainer or NLP Academy, which is run by Michael Carroll, you can approach them and get the 8 days of training, which is offline at locations. So the recent one is coming in Lagos, Portugal, and the satellite is going to be run from India. We have done it recently here for 8 days in India. And after you complete the 8 days, you go through amazing evaluations. There is no certificate without you go through evaluations. So you go through evaluations and then you become a certified New Code NLP practitioners by ITCA, signed by John, Michael, and Carmen.
So how do you see the New Code NLP progressing or even growing in the next decade?
Oh, wow. I see it as one of the finest tools, Shruti. The reason being, one biggest reason is that John himself, who is the co-creator of the traditional classic version, he could identify the flaws in his own subject. And that's big. Like, who does that? And then he Yeah, he created a newer one to fine tune whatever is missing in that. Second, it is so contextual and content free. For example, if I am a coach and I've had 3 meetings already, long meetings in a day, and I have one more right now, just after your session. So the idea which I learned in my life is I have gone content free because my focus is on process. What's the process? How is the person doing what the person doing? That's all. So it helps me as an individual trainer, coach, mentor to have an optimized state for performance and be able to focus and concentrate on process rather than focusing on content. And my life has become so sorted. I am also not focusing on content in my own life rather than just focus on process. Okay, this done, this done, this done. Very, very sorted, right? So that's one thing very important. The structure of ITCA and the structure of coaching with new code is very focused on calibration, which is missing in the coaching frameworks around the world. I'm not, against anyone. I'm just trying to say that there's a lack of calibrations. We're asking questions without the intention of focusing on how is the person moving now, what's happening now. Then, based on that, I need to take a move to the next. And that's very important. Detecting the shifts all the time whenever you're communicating. So that's missing. It's really missing. Another thing which I personally do here in India is that I run a 1-year practice. We have people who are practicing with us from 3 years, and they're just continuing, and they become better as a version of themselves, of course. The intention is, as a coach, if I myself is not congruent with my own life, I'm not able to change and do things and make changes, how can I promise people that I can help others and I can change others? I just don't understand that at all. So am I congruent? Can I have states like this on demand when I want? Can I say, yes, I don't have a state today. I need time. What happens then? Doesn't matter. So the intention towards your question is about how do I see it in coming in the decade. I see new Code NLP as a coaching revolution in the market for those people who are congruent with the intentions to work with themselves first, then with their clients.
Okay, that's fine. So you mentioned that John himself saw the gaps and the issues with the current NLP, and that's how new NLP came forth, right? So does that mean that when we go and do new code, we don't learn the basic principles in NLP and masters?
So when we go in new code, we learn the basic principles, which is Meta, Milton, WACOG, ISS in cues, right? We do learn on anchoring and perceptual positions. The concepts, for example, Meta is a concept, position is a concept, anchor is a concept. Right? The concepts are more important rather than focusing on, a technique. We pick that. Why are we still doing that? Because I have also observed that when you integrate this classic version, which is there and which is useful, very, very useful, Meta is so useful, right? When you were saying, I must, I should, I can just quickly identify model operator of necessity.
That's right.
Right? So yes. When we have this knowledge, basic knowledge of eyes, WAC, Meta, Milton, positions, how am I shifting my body is my position also, right? When I have this and integrate with the new code, the integration of coaching, which is coming up through ITCA in the world, is fantastic. Thank you for asking that question. It is useful. I wanted to add on that,
Yeah, no, I actually think it is because I'm going through my journey by learning NLP. So for me, the instant thing was, well, do I lose that whilst I go into
integrate.
new NLP, or we integrate it, right?
Integrate,
naturally, otherwise
yes.
you will not understand new Code NLP in any sense, right?
I will just add one thing. it's not about classic is not good and new code is good. It's about there are some portions there which are missing, which is here. And now John and Michael and Carmen are working on emergent new code NLP. If you see online, they're working on emergent new code. So it's very, very exciting.
Do you plan to do the emergent new code as well?
I was supporting the satellite in India, the first time emergent new code practitioner here in India last year with NLP Academy. So they did emergent new code NLP practitioner, and I was supporting them last year here in the satellite India already.
What advice would you give somebody looking to learn new code NLP?
If you want to calibrate with yourself, if you want to optimize your performance, if you want to identify what's a missing piece in my productivity, in my personal health or my physical emotions, mental emotions, physical health, you just want to find out that missing piece in your life. This is just going to fill that gap because it would just focus on states for you.
Thank you so much for attending my podcast today. I am so happy to do this. I know that you're one of the recognized figures in India when it comes to NLP, particularly new code as well. So I'm so grateful that you've taken this time.
I really respect that you have put in time to understand the subject and the questions and framing it so well. I mean, I wanted to go on and give more examples, but it was so amazing. Like we've just crossed an hour and we don't even know that. Yeah, no, nothing states.
I'll tell you something. I have done a number of podcasts, and I had actor Shishir Sharma's podcast I did a few weeks ago. And he turned around and said to me, I've never had people ask me these type of questions. And he said the same thing that you have. So I've taken some time to do a lot of my research around what type of questions I wanted to ask you. I think you've shared a lot of knowledge, a lot of resource for people to just, this video will sort of open their eyes to what the basics are around NLP and new code as well.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting, first of all, Shruti Doctor. Thank you so much. I loved your name, Shruti Doctor. And I loved your smile. This is something beautiful I'm taking with me. And I wish you all the very best in creating this beautiful, different conversations and creating a newer version of yourself too. All the very best. And thank you so much. Keep growing.